Alright there folks, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Good to see you as always. Hope you're all well. We've got 4 games set out for us today over in France. I'm going to touch on them in a sec. Should be short and sweet. Before we do, like the video for me if you would. Get yourself subscribed if you're not. Nearly at 500, I know I keep saying it, but just do me the favour. Do yourself a favour. You will not be disappointed. If you want to support the channel, links in the description and the pinned comment along with the pics if there are any. Seems we've only got 4 games today. Let's quickly touch on what happened yesterday. So, Quinton House as the parlay piece. I don't know how it works for you, but for me personally, that would have just been void off my bet slip, so no damage done whatsoever. I am pretty sure if he was 100% fit, he would have had no problem getting past Jesper de Jong. Like I said, doesn't matter. Very close, could have been worse. No damage done, that's the main thing. Kovacevic managed to get past David Goff, and Rublev got past Eubanks. Felix Auger-Aliassime ended up getting past Artur Zoe. Bublik beat Dominic Kepfer. Basilashvili got it done against Kukushkin. He ended up retiring in the 3rd set. And there's one more, Albu and Constant Lestienne. Yeah. What was that? That was essentially a walkover, weren't it? Fucking hell. Piss poor from the Frenchman there, but what you'd expect. What you'd expect from him. We'll just touch on these ones, innit? I'll talk more about them as we go through these. So, first off, who have we got? Jesper de Jong, Flavio Cobolli. Lovely. Flavio Cobolli, call it 1.5 on the decimal. Head to head is 1 apiece for these young gentlemen here. Both of them coming on the clay. One in 2021, the other in 2023. Jesper de Jong winning the latter. Both of them have been in straight sets as well. So, I don't know how much of that can translate over to the hard court, especially for this season, 2 years on. Jesper de Jong, he did beat Quinton Hallis in that tiebreaker. More so, Quinton Hallis just gave him that tiebreaker like that. You could see that. I was watching bits of it in work, and you just knew he was going to pull out. He couldn't play. He had more than enough chances to win that. The first set, that being, couldn't do it. Got a couple of mini breaks, give him right back, and then just give him the set. What can you do? And then he looked absolutely horrendous. Coming out for the second, ended up shaking his hand at the end of the 3rd game. You know, that's the right thing to do. Not only for yourself, but for us. You know, that saves us a bit of money, saves us a bit of stress. I can live with just getting me money back. Fuck, what am I talking about? Of course you can. You know, would you rather lose it? Nah. Anyway, like I said, I'm pretty sure the Hallis that we know would have beat this version of Jesper de Jong. Although, with that being said, I imagine Jesper de Jong's definitely feeling good about snapping his little drought that he was on. You know, he was really struggling until he ran into a very, very poor version of Quinton Hallis. You know, a win's a win, but I'm not buying it. I'm not buying that. Flavio Cobolli, No, I'm slightly concerned for Flavio Cobolli in this spot. I really am. You know, both of them on the day, it's a no-brainer. We know exactly who we'd be going for on this Flavio Cobolli, and you know me, I'm a massive Cobolli fan. I think I said it last season, but I'll say it again. I think, in my opinion, apart from Yannick Sinner, Flavio Cobolli was probably one of the most improved players. Italian players. I think he was, behind Yannick Sinner. Now, there may have been someone else where you go, oh, statistically it's this, but especially on the hard court, he come on leaps and bounds. He really did. But with that being said, we then sort of, we transferred over to the indoor hard court, and he really struggles. Both of them do. And it's a weird one, I don't know, because when it comes to indoor hardcore tennis, contrary to what some of you may believe, it's not as easy as what it seems, is it? Obviously, the transition, it takes out a lot of variables from the outside court, but it also introduces some of its own as well. And Let's just take these two for instance. Let's look at Flavio Caboli, just for example. Like I mentioned, hard court game fucking skyrocketed last season. 26 and 13, 3 and 2 indoors. Overall on the career, Flavio Caboli's got 53 wins, 33 losses on the hard court outdoor, and then we put him indoors, 20 wins, 27 losses. And you know what? He's not the only one. It's the same for a lot of them, the majority of them, for that fact. It's so rough. It's so rough because it's clearly not his forte, is it? It's clearly not any of the forte, but going from one surface where you're doubling up on wins compared to losses, and then you take away the wind and put a roof over your head and whatnot, and you can't even win 50% of your games. Not exactly something I fancy putting my money on, if I'm being honest with you. You pair that with the fact that Flavio Caboli, we've managed to catch every match so far, albeit there's only been two or three, but remember how bad he looked against Luca Nardi. He's been injured, hasn't he? He's been really struggling with an injury. It's hats off to the lad, but he got beat by Thomas Mahatch, which there's no shame in that, me personally. Thomas Mahatch beats Flavio Caboli 10 times out of 10. He does, he's just so much better than him. The Luca Nardi game, he looked really bad. He looked really bad against Luca Nardi, and then we thought he may have been alright against Echeverry in the Australian Open. No, just as bad. Managed to win a set, but yeah, I just don't think I can trust him. I don't think I can trust Flavio Caboli just yet. I need to see more, but that doesn't mean I trust the Dutchman either. I really don't. I stand by what I said yesterday. Jesper de Jong has been really struggling, and considering Quinton Hallis was blown out of his arse today, he still managed to take him to a first set tiebreaker, and he almost won it. So no, big no for me on that one. I'm just gonna sit and wait. I think one unit on a little bit of patience will be the play on that. But like I said, Flavio Cabal, he should be winning it. He should be. Would I be shocked if he didn't? Not at all. It's not for me. It's not for me. Let me know if you've got anything on that, and then we will. Fucking hell, who've we got here? The fucking Blues brothers over here. We've got John Belushi, and Alexander Kovacevic. This will be a decent one. This will be a good one. I don't really know who's going to win this. Odds are split right down the middle. Never played each other before. Good, aren't they? To say the least, these two, they're quite good, aren't they? I feel like we've seen quite a lot of potential from the pair of them. Both solid as well, they can both hit. They both look really good on these hard courts. Jim Belushi's in the fucking top 100 now, isn't he? And he's a left-hander as well. I caught one of his games. I completely forgot he was a lefty. Remember we watched him play Alexander Vukic last season, and we all had money on Vukic, and he left it to like the last game of the last set to retire. And yeah. Don't know whether you remember that, but I certainly do. We know that Kovacevic can beat like good players, like higher ranked players. We've seen it before. He's already beat Pablo Carreño Busta, and he's beat David Goffin. Maybe not the players that they once were, but there's still notable wins, aren't they? We can say that. I don't know, fucking Belushi's tricky, he's tricky. I'm not so much concerned for Kovacevic. I fancy him for a set. He should be good for a set. He may just win this game outright. I feel like they're very evenly matched. Going off just recent performances alone, and I know I've just said it's going to be a close one, but going off form and going off just what we've seen as of late, you've got to give it to the American, haven't you? You've got to. He's won 9 of his last 10. He's just won a title not that long ago on the Challenger. Matteo Belushi's just beat Luca Pouille in straight sets, but I know that weren't an official bet from me, but that just goes to show you why you can never trust Luca Pouille anymore. But he's just been bullied by look at that. Constant Lestienne has just battered Jim Belushi. Terence Atman's just done him in straight sets. All the challenger kids have. Martin Landelus, Negrito, Wu, Radianov. Alright, they're not kids, but he's only beat Benjamin Hassan, Bolt, someone called Marinkov, is that? Yeah, whoever that is. And Luca Pui in his last 10. You've got to lean towards the American, haven't you? If you were picking a side, I'd have to go with Kovacevic just to get this one done. I think he's good for the set. If you're doing a parlay or whatever, I'd take him for the one set. I can't see Matteo Bellucci doing him in straights. Not the way he's been playing. He's been playing too good, too solid, to not just get one against this caliber of opponents. Alright, he's in the top 100, but he's still a bit wet behind the ears, isn't he? So I think Kovacevic hasn't given us any reason to go against them this week, so that would be the play in that one. I think. Oh, fucking hell, look at this. Talon Greek Sport is playing Richard Gasquet. Oh my god. Have these played each other before? Surely no. Oh my god. How's that worked out? They've been on the tour for years. These have never played each other before. That's crazy. Alright then, so I mean, we sort of knew Greek Sport was going to beat Van der Sandschulp. I mean, I couldn't have trusted him to, but he did, and he should have done, and that's exactly what he did. So fair play to him. Gasquet beat Adrian Manarino. No, Manarino was a favourite for that one, weren't he? I thought Manarino probably would beat him, but got to take your hat off to Richard Gasquet here, folks. I mean, he absolutely fucked him up. He did. He was clocking in at over like 90% fair serve points. Didn't see a break point. But with that being said, and no offence, but it is Adrian Manarino, innit? So, you take that however you will. Talon Greek Sport, as we mentioned, he's not the most trustworthy of players. Well, he's become that. That's what he's become anyway over the year or two. But what I will say is this, you look at his last 10, I'd say he's won 4 of his last 10, you'd go, oh yeah, that makes sense. Look at who he's been beat by though. Now, be honest, out of all these that I'm going to name you now, there's probably one that you'd go, he probably should be beaten. So we've got Hubert Hurkacz, Yannick Sinner, Carlos Alcaraz, Alexander Zverev, Dom Stricher, Grigor Dimitrov. I know it's a lot of losses sort of like clumped into one, but we wouldn't have fucking put anything on Greek Sport to win any of them matches anyway, would we? Let's be real. Richard Gasquet's nearly 40. He's nearly 40. And I know we have banter about him every now and then on the channel, but let's just, I'll just take this moment as just a moment of respect for Richard Gasquet. If there's any, and I know you have, for the true tennis fans out there, I was 6 years old when Richard Gasquet started playing tennis. He's been playing tennis for 24 years. 24 years, that's fucking insane. I think that's second behind Roger Federer, isn't it? Something like that. Or I think I've seen something before, there's a record, so he's won, we'd imagine him to anyway, but you've won at least one match consecutively for 24 years on the ATP tour. That is very, that's one hell of a career. I'm pretty sure he started when he was 15 years old being on the tour. If I remember correctly, which I definitely don't, but just from what I've read and what I've learned over the years of watching the sport, I'm pretty sure this fella got a really big win when he was really young, and then the French press just hyped him up so much, and then it got to the point where, he was anything he was going to do was never going to be enough, really, because they thought he was the next fucking messiah in tennis. But I just wanted to tip me cap to Richard Gasquet. That's one hell of a career, that man. You've got to give it to him. 24 years on the tour. Fuck me. But I think he gets beat anyway. I do. It doesn't mean anything. I think he gets beat. He's 10 years older than Talon Greek Sport. Manarino is only 2 years younger than Richard Gasquet, so it's like, there you go, innit? That's the level now. I know he's in France, and there's something bugging me about this game. There's something bugging me because if Richard Gasquet beats Talon Griekspoor, it's just going to be, oh, Gasquet in France, he's won this tournament 4 times. 4 times over 24 years, that's a fact. But surely he's not going to beat Talon Griekspoor. I imagine Griekspoor is going to be if anything, just a bit too agile. Just a bit too aggressive. Just a little bit younger and fucking fresher out the box. Don't you agree? 1.4 on the exchange. I mean, I know you can't parlay them on the exchange, but if you can get 1.4 and parlay that with fucking, I don't know, Kovacevic to win a set or something, I don't know. Fairly decent odds. I had Hallis at 1.4 against De Jong today. I mean, you could surely take Griekspoor at 1.4 against Gasquet on your parlay, couldn't you? Surely. I'm not crazy for thinking that, am I? Anyway, last one. Who've we got? Nicholas Basilashvili, Arthur Rinderknech. Arthur Rinderknech obviously being a favourite in this one, 1.5. Head-to-head's 2-1 to the Georgian. But Rinderknech beating him 2022 indoor hard court straight sets, and then the other two obviously Basilashvili. Told you, didn't I? He's streaky, this guy. He really is. Did he drop that second set? He dropped the second set to Kukushkin today, and I was like, oh no. Oh god, like Kukushkin, this is what he does to people. He's the crafty vet. No. And another thing I wanted to touch on as well. His last two opponents have both retired on him in like the last game of the last set. What the fuck is going on? I ask you again. What the fuck is going on with that? Tito Androge got right to the end. Right to the end, and I can't remember what happened. It went to like deuce or something. And then it just, like, my stream went off, and that's it. Retired. Mikhail Kukushkin went down. He was going to get bageled. I mean, part of me doesn't blame him, but at the same time, I'm like, look, you're down in the third set, 5-0. You've then, the only thing that it was that probably saved him is that he couldn't play anymore, and then he was essentially, how can I put it, saving to lose the match, which is fucking bizarre, innit? But couldn't you have just like shot that one game away and just got out of there and been like, oh look, I couldn't have played, it is what it is. 5 love. And then you retired. Look, fair play to Basilashvili, you'd be made up with that, but when do we ever see, like, not only just like back-to-back opponents pulling out and retiring, the way in which they've done it, it's so strange. It's so strange. Arthur Rinderknech didn't look that promising in his first game against was Harold Mayo. Yeah, he dropped the set in that too. Ultimately proved to be just a bit too much for the other guy. What was that? Oh yeah, he dropped the tiebreaker in the first and then just pummeled him 6-2, 6-1. I don't want to go against Nicholas Basilashvili because although I haven't put him out as an official play the past 2 days, I have spoke about him. I did take him to win a set in qualifying, and I did say he was probably going to beat Kukushkin yesterday. Did I mention he's streaky? I think like I mentioned he's streaky. Yeah. No, you can't go against him, can you? Not while he's playing like this. Arthur Rinderknech, I feel like we know what we're going to get with him. I know the highs can be, not exactly high, but I know he can operate to a decent enough level. He can win enough 3 points off that serve against anyone, especially on a surface like this. Basilashvili, is he just putting a grind on people? Is he grinding people out to the point where they just can't even play the last game of the last set? Surely fucking not. But it would seem that way, doesn't it? It does seem to be. That must be one hell of a pace he's putting on these players. All right, Kukushkin's, he's a bit older, isn't he? But I just can't get over it. I'm just gonna wrap it up before I mention it again. But yeah, it's weird. It's very strange. The past 2 games with him, he's been playing really good though. I'll give him that. Arthur Rinderknech before that game against fucking Harold Mayo, I'd lost 6 on the bounce, 5 on the bounce. I don't know. It's happened with a few of them this tournament. They seem to have got that win just to like snap the streak, but none of them have been enough for me. And I certainly need to see more from Artur Rinderknech before I start betting on him as a favourite with that price against someone as in form as Nicholas Basilashvili. So take the Georgian for the set as the dog, for maybe just even taking to win it. I'm not too sure. I'm undecided on what I'm going to do. I imagine there's something pinned, if there is, and you know what it is. Cool. So then we're going to wrap it up. Appreciate you stopping by, as always. Appreciate you taking the time to come and chill out. Like and subscribe, yeah. Get yourself subscribed. Do me a favour. As soon as we hit 500, we'll be doing live streams all the time, so I'm looking forward to that. You should too. I'll be saying good night to you. Take it easy. Take care of yourself. Take care of one another. Let's enjoy the tennis, yeah? Let's go get some cash today, and I'll see you tomorrow.